New Hampshire primary day. The battle between the frontrunners has been heating up in New Hampshire, where the nation's first primary vote is taking place today. Senator Ted Cruz is fresh off a win in Iowa, where he claimed victory in the state's caucus. But some are saying that he could face more headwinds in New Hampshire, where there are far fewer evangelical voters. All right, joining us now with his take on how Cruz will come out of tonight's vote is former Republican Senator from New Hampshire, Bob Smith, also a Cruz supporter. Senator Smith, it's great to have you. Great to meet you. So you are supporting Senator Cruz in New Hampshire?
Yes, I am, and proudly so.
Okay. Well, I was just going to come right out and say I don't even think the Cruz people have high expectations for his outcome in New Hampshire. So what is the best case scenario for Senator Cruz?
Well, I don't agree with that at all.
Fair.
I think we're in this as competitors. We respect the right of the voters to make the decision. And our intention is to take everything out of the locker room and leave it on the field. I mean, you know, thousands of phone calls, thousands of knocking on doors, thousands of dollars spent in advertising, and thousands of voters that Senator Cruz has met person to person, eyeball to eyeball, over the last several months. So, you know, we understand that the voters make the decision. We're not in the prediction business. The voters make that decision.
Yeah, of course, I respect that. But if you look at the breakdown, at the demographic, you don't have the evangelicals. He had a fantastic turnout in Iowa. Going forward, everyone says Cruz should cruise through South Carolina in Super Tuesday, but New Hampshire, probably not his cup of tea, if you will.
There are some evangelicals here, but I think in addition to that, Laura, you also have what we call the Reagan coalition, those who supported Ronald Reagan in 1980, anti-tax people, anti-spending, those who oppose government spending, right to life, pro-gun. There's a huge coalition of conservatives here that go far beyond the evangelical message, if you will.
Sure.
And they said the same thing about Ronald Reagan in 1980, and look what happened there.
And I'll tell you, if you are following Donald Trump and his battle against Cruz, I mean, I'll give you that one. That has become bitter, nasty, vulgar toward Cruz. You must see some backlash, right? Helping you out here from the Trump camp maybe going to Cruz because of what's kind of unfolded the last couple of days in terms of how Trump has treated Cruz, and not only with his language, but specifically coming out against Cruz, criticizing him for not, for example, supporting waterboarding and interrogation.
Well, I think Senator Cruz is in good company there. I mean, Mr. Trump has been pretty aggressive against others, certainly including Jeb Bush, and whoever he seems to decide to pick on any given day. But Senator Cruz is above all that. He really is. He's just a decent man of high character, good Christian man who believes what he believes and says it like it is. And he tells the American people that he is a consistent conservative who will change this country. He will change the cartel in Washington, and that's why so many people attack him. But I don't think the thing between Donald Trump and Senator Cruz is personal. It's certainly not personal on Senator Cruz's part. I know that. So
I know you said you're not making predictions here, but again, what would be a fair expectation in terms of how Senator Cruz will perform in New Hampshire?
I'm not going to go with expectations. I'm not trying to duck your question. We just don't do it that way. I know. Let me just give you an example. One of our supporters, not in a not a large community town, knocked on 5,000 doors. That's just one person. This is the kind of enthusiasm that he has. So look, we want to be competitive. We are competitive, and we're going to let the voters make the decision right here in New Hampshire.
Curious for your thoughts on some of the other candidates. Senator Rubio, for one, obviously came out of Iowa strong, third place, but he and his followers, his supporters, were pleased with that. But then the last debate really struggled. Governor Christie really went after him, and I think a lot of people are not sure how Rubio will come out of New Hampshire. Any thoughts on Senator Rubio today?
You know, it's interesting. Senator Cruz won the Iowa caucuses with more votes than anybody in the history of the caucuses, and then supposedly he was to come here and things weren't going to go so well, but Rubio finishes third, and suddenly he's on the rise. I think, look, Rubio did not have a good debate. I think that's generally accepted. But that's up again. You know, the voters are going to have to determine that. I think the key with Senator Rubio is that he doesn't match the rhetoric that he uses, whereas Senator Cruz is consistent. Senator Rubio, just one example, is the Gang of Eight. I know everybody hears about it, but it's a big deal. I mean, this is by supporting that legislation and co-sponsoring and helped draft it, it was President Obama and Charles Schumer. That was a liberal legislation that provided for more amnesty without getting the borders closed. So that's a huge difference in terms of being a consistent conservative and one that goes against, supports the Washington establishment.
Appreciate your thoughts. Senator Bob Smith, thanks again.
You're welcome.
Okay.